All right, everybody, welcome back to SnapperChat, the number one podcast in the solar industry, where our goal is to add as much value for you guys as we possibly can and just over deliver every single time that you guys hop on our podcast here. And so, guys, thank you so much for coming today. We're excited to drop some nuggets and value for you, and we've got a very special guest. Before we bring on our special guest, though, my name is Will Ellermitz, co-founder of Snapper Academy and vice president of expansion for Nevo Solar. We've also got in the house my co-host Matt Beeler, who is also the co-founder of Snapper Academy and VP of branding for Nevo Solar. And so with that being said, guys, we've actually got the president of Nevo Solar on the podcast today. This is Tyler Bradshaw. He's been in the industry for 14 years, and he's gone from being the brand new rep that now runs a over $100 million solar installation company that does commercial, residential, a couple other things as well. And the topic that we're going to talk to you guys about today is how to get from, you're starting off, you're in summer sales, because right now it's like we're in the middle of the summer, right? We're 2 weeks into Q3, and we've got a lot of guys that are saying, hey, how do I get to the true solar money? And how you do that is by going full time. And so Tyler's got a blueprint for you guys. He's going to break down on what he's done over the last 10 years, 14 years to go from just being a summer sales program to now the full-time program, which is where you can actually get the most out of this experience, which is in sales and in solar or whatever industry that you guys are in. But you guys know that we're in solar sales. So Tyler, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today. Welcome to Snapper Chat.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. I love it.
Yeah, we've been working with you for over a year. We've known about you for several years, and every single time we get to hang out with you, we learn a ton. So let's get right into it, man. Tell us a little bit about your background, and then kind of just go into it with how you were able to transition for everybody watching. Again, guys, you're going to make way more money, help way more people, and have a lot more success by making that switch from just summer sales to full time. So Tyler, I'd love to have you share some nuggets and advice and wisdom for everybody on how they can do what you've done.
Yeah, well, thank you. And honestly, I'll try and keep it really brief. I've been in door-to-door, like you said, for 14 years. I jumped in pest control and then alarms and then eventually solar. I feel like my story's been one of evolution and slow growth. And a lot of it came down to my mindset. I jumped in and my mindset was always really, really short term, where I was just thinking about like, hey, I'm going to do this summer. That's it. And it was just in between college. Didn't really get out, do a lot during college to build my brand or build this company. I didn't have a long-term vision. I was going to be a financial advisor. That's what I wanted to do. I didn't really want to be a door-to-door salesman for a long time, right? And so I ended up doing several summers, paid for college, was able to do really well in it. Never like the top guy in anything. Honestly, I was just, my skill set was I had a pitch that you could replicate, and I could bring people on, and they could kind of learn my pitch because it was simple. I just kind of kept it simple, right? But it wasn't anything like I had no vision to be like, oh, I have to be the best in the industry, and that just wasn't me. So I'll just own that. But things evolve and change over time. And one of the big milestones for me was when I started doing financial advising. I realized that having this quote unquote big boy job, this professional job, wasn't what I thought it would be. The money really wasn't where I thought I should be, what I felt like I was worth. I knew I could go out and create an income for myself of, well over 6 figures, in 4 months. And then now I'm taking a big step back, making way less than that in working all year long. And I just didn't feel like it was worth my time to really get in and invest in financial advising. And I loved learning about it, just didn't love doing it. And so I ended up, I had this pivotal moment where I was actually at the grocery store with my wife, and, I just looked like depressed, and that's not me. I'm like pretty even kill, typically pretty optimistic. And my wife was just like, what is wrong? And I just looked up to her, I probably this puppy dog sad face or whatever. And I'm like, I just want to knock doors. And she's like, okay. Like my wife's such a sweetheart. We had just bought our house in the place that we wanted. We wanted to settle down in Utah. Knocking doors mean we'd be out of state. And she's super supportive and just like, yeah, like let's do what makes you happy and support your career. And so, I got to give a shout out to my number one and that, cause she's been so supportive. But I ended up moving from from Utah. 2 years later, I kind of had another pivotal moment where I was doing the summer thing, realized that wasn't super sustainable. Just like I had a family, I was growing. I wanted more personally. And so we kind of came to terms that, like, if we wanted to do this, we need to be living in the market that we're selling in year round and be able to put 100% of our time, thought, effort into it. And candidly, when we moved from Utah, sold our house, used some of the money, moved to Texas. I didn't have anything I was moving to. I had an opportunity, I had a vision, I had this desire to grow, but I knew one person in that market, literally one person. And I called him up, said, "Hey, I'm doing this." He said, "Let's go." And I'll forever be grateful for Jacob. But I ended up sending some equipment to his house, went down. We literally ran this security company out of a garage. And everyone like sees like the picture of like Apple computers, like starting in a garage, and all these famous companies starting in a garage. Like we're not a famous company yet, not anywhere where I want us to be, but literally started out of a garage and ran that like that for like 6 months. Found and by the grace of God, I found solar, right? And I was doing security at the time. Found solar, and solar was the other thing that changed my life. And so started selling solar, realized I was doing the same work for 4 to 10, sometimes 10 times the commission. And I'm like, why would I put all of my time and effort into something that takes just as much time and effort to make so much less, right? With added risk. I mean, you had these chargebacks from the company months down the line if the customer stopped paying their bills, blah, blah, blah. And in solar, you didn't really have a lot of that, especially at the time. And so anyway, not to take too long on that, but 5 years later, we have a company that is, doing 9 figures plus in revenue. We do solar, completely vertically integrated in-house. We do batteries, generators, roofing in-house. And honestly, it's been the most fulfilling thing that I've ever done, personally, to grow and to build. And so I'm super grateful for all the dues that I paid up front in door to door, and the grit and the tenacity that it taught me. And I think all of that bled into what it takes to be candidly an entrepreneur later on in life. And I'm grateful that I didn't just jump right into entrepreneurship up front, because for me, I had to pay the dues. I had to learn the lessons. I had to be the guy that, you go through the pain. So now I run the business very principled. We built it on principles of honesty, integrity, speed. We've paid all of our bills. We've paid all of our commissions. Like we ran the company that we can look back and be really proud of. And so anyway, grateful for everything that I've seen and done in the past, and grateful for where we're at right now, but looking forward to the future.
So you had a moment that you pivoted your mindset with your wife at the grocery store, where you said, we got to go full time. We got to be in market. And I look at myself, I had a similar moment, and it was with a friend of mine. You might know him. His name was Oscar. And he said, Will, you're doing great. You've got a Blitz. You put up 13 deals. You put up 17 deals. Now you're running a team. You put up 35 deals your third week. That's crazy. You got to go full time. And I was loving the lifestyle. I was going to the Blitz, and I was closing, whatever it was, 10, 15, 30 deals. And then I would go to Florida. And when I was in Florida, I'd be like going to the beach and getting my deals to install. But it's like during those 2-3 weeks there, how many more deals could I have gotten? So what Oscar said was, you got to go full time. And that's where then we moved to market full time. We got our house. We started bringing out reps. And I mean, dude, we had 20, 30 people living in a house with 10 bunk beds. And that was where we were able to then go to 50, 60 deals in a month. And then we were able to go to like 100 deals a month. And these guys were able to come out there, and we were able to give them an opportunity because we were there full time. And so like that was my moment. And maybe this call right now, this podcast with SnapperChat, could be somebody else's moment right now. If you're watching this right now and you're saying, hey, I've had a Blitz or 2 or 3, and I need to go full time. Guys, those are some of the reasons why I need to go full time, right? If you really want to be able to maximize the opportunity, you got to go full time. So Tyler, do you have any advice for reps that are kind of like going back and forth on why they really need to make the switch to full time and why that's important?
Do it. That's my advice. It's simple arithmetic and simple logic. the more time that you put into it, the more you'll get out of it, right? And the more effort that you put into it. I would just caution that you go into it with the right mindset. Just because you're year round doesn't necessarily mean that you, just because you live in market, I should say, doesn't necessarily mean that it equals more dollars. You have to have that same energy on the doors year round. But I will say this though, I did so many summers before this. I did like over 9 summers, I think, just doing summer sales, right? And at the end of the summer, I'll be honest, I always felt tired. There's always this moment where you're just kind of like, oh dang, I'm burnt out, like I'm done, right? And when you're working year round, if you set up your schedule, you plan on Sundays, you set your time blocks that these are my hours that I'm working. It's so much more sustainable, and you don't have that same burnout. And so it's not only, anyway, I would say do it, but go into it with the right mindset and make sure that you operate sustainably the whole time and bring the energy.
So as a leader in the solar industry, let's say you have a team of 15, 20 guys, and your guys are used to coming out for 2 weeks and then going home for 2 weeks. You've been doing that successfully for months and months on end. The blitzes are going great, guys are making money, but you want to make that transition over to full time. How would you approach bringing that idea to your reps to get the most buy-in so they go from working 10 days straight, 20 days off, to working 5-6 days a week every single week? What would that conversation with your reps look like initially?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. I don't think that, personally, I wouldn't try and go sell them on anything, right? I would go inspire them by leading from the front and moving out first myself, making it happen, and then making them want what I have and making sure that I go out and have success first. They'll follow.
What will happen if, let's say, over the next like 2-3 years, reps don't choose to make that switch to full time and they just continue doing the blitz?
It's hard to argue with success, and everybody has different lifestyles. And so if a blitz model is what works for you and that's 100% what you have to do, I just check yourself right now first and see if that's the best method, right? I get there's like family obligations and whatnot. So I'm not talking to those people necessarily, but if you have the ability to go out and work year round, it's an opportunity cost to not take advantage of an opportunity to be in market year round, with the people that you serve in the community, right? The other thing is that, like, look, I think that a lot of times in our industry, we just look at, like, in door to door, we look at it where it's very transactional, where I go and I knock on a door and I talk to that homeowner, and after I leave after a sale, I don't want to talk to him again, right? Like I never want to see that person again. Don't call me, nothing, unless it's for a referral, right? And we always joke about it. When you move to market, it is not transactional anymore. It's long-term business. You're doing business the right way because you're going to see that guy in the grocery store and you don't want to have screwed him and sold him at a 6 PPW or whatever it is, right? And so the other thing though is that, in my opinion, it gets easier because when you look at it through a different mindset, we've talked about this in the past where there's hunting and trapping, right? And hunting is us going out and knocking the doors and putting the active effort in. And there's trapping, which is like setting up these traps essentially that people will come to you, like lead capture, right? And when you're in a market year round and you can establish yourself as a local professional that people love and trust because they know that you do good business. You talk to real estate agents, you talk to title companies, you talk to insurance agencies, you talk to these business owners that are in your community that are also staples and have branded themselves really well, and you co-brand with each other and you do referral sharing, and there's you join BNI groups, right? There's things like that you can do that are local. So as you're knocking doors, you're supplementing with all these leads that are coming to you, and you can get an extra 20, 30, 40 deals a year just off of these leads that come to you. And they're not like you have to really sell them. These ones that in my experience, they've been the easiest. They just call you up and say, hey, so-and-so told me to call you, or you call them. Yeah, I was waiting for your call because Donnie told me that you're going to call, and I want whatever he got, right? And the trust is so high that the transaction is quick.
to end on some very tactical advice for the rep that watched this, they decided now is the time to make the transition. I see the benefit of going full time. They've packed up their bags. They've moved to market full time. What I take from what you just said is those first couple weeks, it's going out and not just knocking doors, but knocking doors of businesses and groups and people that can actually help you build a business, people that can help you set those traps, set those sales funnels, and really start making a name for yourself. And one of my favorite things I've heard from you, Tyler, is really being known for the exact thing that you do in your market. And so for solar, if you're in a certain market and you're the expert in solar, that you're the one that you want people to buy solar from, everybody should know that you're the guy that when solar comes up, you're the resource, kind of like how Will is the resource for the news and for the things that are happening in the education in the solar industry. You should be that for the customers that you're trying to serve in your area. And so if you're one of those reps that have just made that transition, really go out and start building a business, because solar, even just as a sales rep, is a business. You're building a career. You're a 1099 contractor most of the time, so you should treat it like a business. Treat it like you're building a customer base, like you're building a reputation, like you're building a brand that's going to last for the lifetime. That when you screw one customer, everyone finds out, because that's how it should be. And so I'll pass this back to you, Will, to end us out. And thanks, Tyler, for coming on. That was super valuable.
Yeah, my biggest takeaway is like when you're in your market full time, like you were saying right there, you got to be the guy. You're the guy that helps homeowners not just save $20, $30 a month, because in a world where we like to spend money, right? If we're like on a vacation and we want to buy like a pair of $200, $300 pair of sunglasses, even though we've already got 10 at home, like we'll just do it. And so it's not about saving the $20, $30. It's about, hey, look, you're able to right now with the election season, put yourself in a situation where you're like long-term going to save so much money. And this is why my heart's in the solar industry, is because we're really able to provide an incredible service for people that really puts them in a better situation. So you're going to save a ton of money, but it's not what it's about. What it's about is like, this is one of the best products that you could put on your house. And that's why when done right, solar is the best thing that you could ever do. Plus, you don't have to spend any money to make the switch over to solar. It's a bill swap and it's a long-term saving. It's an investment. And so letting people know that you're the guy made me just think that we need to do a course on Snapper Academy called How to Be the Guy. We just did a course on how to be a better communicator than Elon Musk and Bezos and Oprah combined. But I think that would be a cool course on how to be the guy in your market that goes out there and everybody knows that you're the guy that's helping out homeowners. So stay tuned for that. And I mean, Tyler, one other thing that I've learned from you as well is that you got to where you're at because of being principled and living with the discipline and all the things and moving to market full time. But then you also made those investments, right? You knocked doors and you bought doors, and now you're set up in a way that is everybody's goal, right? Everybody in the solar industry, they want to be able to do what you've done, which is you didn't let the foot off the gas in solar. You used that money, which was the business, the vehicle, to be able to fund your real estate, which now funds your lifestyle. So do you mind just kind of to wrap up this podcast, letting people know how it was by making that decision to go full time that allowed you to have those resources to be able to invest in a real estate that's now allowed you to have that lifestyle?
Yeah, I was lucky enough years ago to be inspired by my manager who was buying a lot of real estate. And that's what got me really invested into it and knowing, hey, this is what I want to do when I start making money. And so I was hearing about it and learning about it years before I actually started doing it. It's a really simple recipe in that your business buys your real estate and your real estate buys your lifestyle, right? And we talked about it yesterday about where you put your attention, and your attention is always on your business. Your real estate should be totally passive, in my opinion. Other people could say different things, but in my opinion, I want my real estate to be completely passive because, at some point in the future, if I ever wanted to take a step back from my business or sold it or did take myself out of that, right? I could totally retire, have a completely passive income stream that pays for my lifestyle, and I don't need to do anything really. And that's that FU money that people always want, right? But here's the thing that most people don't get is that in order to do that, I need time and I need money. And the time will come, the money needs to come now, right? And so we look at like, hey, how much do I need to earn to live a really cool lifestyle? And they take all their money, their active income, and they spend it on their lifestyle. And candidly, I know I was just disciplined enough to have made, 7 figures plus in a year and live on under, under 200,000, I'll say. I won't say under 100,000, and then take all the difference and invest it, right? And it's one of the best tax loopholes that is out there, totally legal, to be able to skirt a lot of the taxes that you would normally pay anyways on that money. And it pays me for the rest of my life, right? For the most part, I'll always just 1031 it into another property in the future. So, I think that if you're listening to this and you want one thing out of it, my message is just that you think long term. The biggest issue in our industry is that people just want short, quick hits, and they want what's now, right? And the best lives are created through deferring, delayed gratification, right? It's okay to not go out and go to the bars and do bottle service and everything else. Take some of that money and invest it in your future, whether that's real estate or buying businesses or buying stocks or crypto or whatever the hell you guys want to invest in. But invest in it, right? Invest in yourself first, and then invest in other things that are going to pay you passive. And so I just say, think long term. That's why you move to market. That's why you work year round, is to co-brand yourself. I mean, think about the real estate agents that put their face on on the sides of buses and billboards and the bus stop benches and all that kind of stuff, right? They want people to think of them. That's what you do when you're trying to brand yourself with that market, and invest in things like that. I love seeing when solar professionals are out there and they're actually networking and whatnot. Highly encourage that. I wish that was more what our teams were doing, candidly. And so we want to make sure that industry wide, though, people do better business when they think long term. People live better lifestyles when they think long term, and you make better decisions when you think long term. So,
yep.
Anyway, that's
and
it.
You got to have that long term plan, and then you break it into segments. You break it into 90-day segments. But it's exactly what I did when we first moved to full market. Was I joined the BNI. I joined the Chamber of Commerce. I was at the Rotary Club. I would go to the Lions Club, and it was just how do I get in front of people and let them know what I'm doing? And we would let them know, hey, we're doing this, and it's, we're helping the community, and, we're doing something that's a huge value add, and it's something where if we can partner up, it can be mutually beneficial. We can both win from this. And so we just want to help people. How many people can we help? Who do you know that needs help? That's the magic word in recruiting and in sales, is who do you know that we could help, right? And so biggest takeaway from this is you got to go full time, guys. If this is your moment, then that would be awesome. I'd love for you guys to drop a thumbs up if you guys got value from this podcast with Snapper Chats. We're going to be bringing on phenomenal guests just like Tyler. Tyler's going to be a regular attendee on the show. So if you guys want to put in the comments here any questions that you guys would like to ask Tyler about other things, about how to go full time, how to invest, qualities of a leader. You've said a lot of things in here that really got me thinking. And I think the biggest thing is you just got to think long term, but then you got to do these 90 days too. So it's in your first 90 days in your market, can you join all of these clubs? How many people can you introduce yourself to, and to not necessarily marry the results, but marry the process, right? And the process is going out there and doing the work. And if you're willing to do that, then you'll be able to have a lifestyle like you're talking about, that you can literally do whatever you want. So guys, there's no other better opportunity than being in solar sales right now. And I believe that Nevo's set up where we're going to be able to really help create 100 millionaires over the next couple of years. And it's going to be phenomenal. We've got incredible options for you guys with helping out homeowners, putting them in the best situation. We've got reliability and consistency, which is something, talking about SunPower, a lot of businesses going out. Nevo's solid, guys. It's strong. We've got the back end process, and everything is set up for two things. And the first one is to make sure that the homeowner has the best customer possible experience possible, and that they're happy so that we can get referrals. And the second one is making sure that reps are getting paid, because that matters, right? And so it's a formula that we've put together, and it's all due to Tyler, with him being the founder of the company and the president of the company. So Tyler, thank you so much for coming on the Snapper Chat podcast. This is our first couple ones. We've been saying we're going to do 1 million of these, which I think it's possible. Anything is possible. What others say is impossible is just a little bit difficult to us, right? But we just want to add as much value for you guys as we possibly can. So again, guys, thank you so much for being on the show. And let's all go off mute. Snapper Chat's on me. Snapper Chat's on 3. 1, 2, 3.
SnapperChat. Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys.
All right, guys.
Appreciate it.